The Matthew Dark Show.
Ladies and gentlemen, praise God and welcome in. Well, we're now over 2 months into the Iran war, and we're now feeling the effect here at home. Now, we can't necessarily put a gauge on how we're doing overseas. The American people are just told the same thing over and over. Sounds like this. Number one, Iran can never have a nuclear weapon. You're hearing that line regurgitated over and over. And if you listen to Fox News at all, that's all you'll hear. So that's number one. Number two, what we hear over there is that we've decimated their military, their army, their all capabilities. They don't have an army or servicing Navy anymore. They told us that. And then they told us that we're so close to a peace deal. It's going to be so great for everything. Now, we're over 70 days into this war, but unfortunately, and we just saw inflation data last week, we're ticking up. We're getting higher. Have you felt it at the pump? How do you like this new gas prices? I saw and had to pay the other day $4.69. Okay. I know just 3 months ago, $2.69. Okay. So they'll say, well, you must be a real cheapskate. You can't handle $2 a gallon but there's no end to it. We put inflation on top of inflation and the system keeps going. So we're just here to say our incomes no longer keep with this turbo inflation. So we've got a great guest, Joe Lombardi, Iron Hawk Financial. We need just kind of a breakdown of this current climate, Joe, because it's such a bizarre thing. We have the people under pressure. We're being suffocated. Markets are doing this. Now, we've seen the metals fall off and we've seen oil surging. Stock market is making new highs. Joe, how are we supposed to make sense of this? It doesn't feel like an economy. If you look at it from the stock market, we should all be thriving. If you look at it from the regular person's perspective, the market should be decimated because we're suffering. I don't know. How do you make this situation, this mess? This is clearly not on the bingo card for making America great again in 2026. What are your thoughts, Joe? Welcome in.
Thanks for having me. It boils down to energy. United States is playing the long game. They're looking at it like we can't compete in AI. We can't compete with countries like China, where they can do it so cheap. And that's the new wave. So they're saying, where is the America's position, right? So their position is saying, hey, we're taking the oil, we're taking the propane, we're taking the energy that fuels AI, and we're going to own that because you can't have your robots if you don't have your batteries. So that's, the war has been Venezuela. The war has been the oil that was going from Russia to Ukraine. That pipe got mysteriously destroyed under Biden. This has been something that has been going on for years and years and years. The U.S. understands that what is our value? Service? AI can do all our service. AI can tell you, what's the best mortgage, what's the best life insurance policy or annuity, where's the best stocks going to. So as a service, our entire way of life is under attack. And so I believe what they're trying to do is say, hey, as a service country, because we're no longer a labor country, that labor is going to be needed, this new industrial AI wave. And we are not prepared. We're not in a position where we're going to win. We're going to lose as a country. So the government's panicking because they're like, crap, we want to keep our power. We want to keep, being the richest country in the world. And the way the chess pieces are set up now, we're not going to be 20 years from now. So that's going to be something they've been trying to address, but it might be too late. I mean, the whole woke movement destroyed any power we had as a country, people accepting our word. And it's sort of like the new stepdaddy comes in, Trump, and the kids are like, what are you going to do to me? My last dad was actually my second mom. So it's one of those things like so when you look at it, unfortunately, I think Trump's making an insanely hard decision. I don't like Palestine. I don't like Israel. I don't like the Middle East at all. I don't like giving power to a little teeny country in the middle of nowhere that didn't exist for 2,000 years because of usury laws and Christianity. So if you understand what's really going on, if you which is hard to do, is that we're selling our soul as a country, as we've been doing for decades, to oligarchies, to the richest family. We already did it to the Federal Reserve almost 100 years ago. Mm-hmm. So when you understand it's just been a slow decay Look at our dollar losing 99.999% of value since Federal Reserve came out. So we have been a failed experiment, and they have continued to break us down, divide us, crush us, just so that they can keep stealing tax dollars. Just it's really bad out there, unfortunately, and why the stock market keeps going up. In my opinion, it's a bubble up.
Yep.
I believe there's so many people on Trump's side. You have the millionaires and billionaires, and now I could say trillionaires that are playing the market with manipulation, and it's something they've been doing to us for 100 years, manipulating us. So they're doing that same thing to the market. They're trying to say, hey, everybody, don't get out of dollars, right? Because we overthrew countries. You can list them. And we murdered people because they said we will not use the dollar to buy oil. And they said, oh yeah? Are you sure about that? No, I'm sure. Boom, dead. So when you understand the war, it's always been on the golden liquid, not the golden gold, so to say, is that oil is more valuable than gold.
That's probably the last play, this petrodollar play, that the United States says we are clearly superior in this moment, and they're going to use it. They're not describing it that way to the American people. As we said, the pitch to this is Iran can never have a nuclear weapon. And the way he keeps reinforcing that, they're almost suggesting that there's no price we're not willing to pay, even if it destroys the U.S. economy, for this fake fear of Iran can never have a nuclear weapon. You just described, this is exactly what's going on. It's an erosion of the dollar, erosion of the economy, erosion of what we thought America was worth fighting for. How many people do you think out there right now can see it, though? That's really the problem. You and I are seeing this the day it happened, and these moves, the public, though, how far are they away from realizing, A, we'll never vote our way out of our misery and troubles? We're seeing that in real time. And that the government is actually actively trying to hurt your long-term success. Do you think our American people even have a clue that that is going on right now? That's the shame, right?
No, so it's all about distraction. It's been their MO. I mean, before I was even born.
Yes.
The nuclear weapons, I mean, we did that, with Saddam Hussein. We did that with 9/11. We did that with Afghanistan. It's old. Okay. I mean, if nuke goes off, nuke goes off. We're all dead. Okay, cool. Is that going to excuse 73,000 behaviors over the last 30 years?
Exactly.
I mean, that's sort of like being like putting a gun to my head. You got to do everything I say, Matt. And if you don't, things are going to get bad. And it's like, come on, dude. So it's just a scapegoat. It's an excuse. At the end of the day, they control with fear. They control with division. They control with lies. They dumb down our education. 27th in math, 25th in science. It's disgusting. Number one in spending, though. We spend the most. Can you imagine being a car manufacturer and you're the number one spending car manufacturer in the world and you make the 27th ranked best vehicle? I think a lot of people would be fired, right? But we have this thing called a monopoly. And which all monopolies are bad if you talk to Congress, but the one that they're a part of is good. Right. So when you understand the whole system is rigged against you, and getting away from the government, if you think the government's going to save you and give you peace and love and all the freaking furry bunnies and butterflies, you're a freaking idiot. So you have to understand that you have to be self-sufficient. You have to critically think, and it's very hard when the government owns the educational system. And the educational system says, invest with the government, trust the government. The government is good. Come die overseas for us and put on this, pattern and take this AK-47 and go shoot people, or M16. So it's one of those things where the whole system is the government controls. And in my opinion, the government is one of the most demonic beings ever created on earth. It's
100%.
Slaughtered the most humans out of anything. They would make Genghis Khan look like a pimple. Right. And when you understand, you look at numbers, right? Men lie, women lie, numbers don't lie. So that's how I built my business, by just proving numbers and proving facts and building up to 4,000 clients and over $4 billion of protection and rollovers. And it comes down to, if you just can teach somebody something factually and deprogram their TV programming, their television, they're being told a vision that's false by demonic spiritual energies. This is a real big spiritual war, not to go to a whole nother level, But I mean, when you look at it, the whole thing is connected, and
Right.
people don't wake up. People can't fathom that we didn't go to the moon. The Titanic was the Olympic. Wait, they killed a bunch of
Mhm.
people from Federal Reserve. Wait, 9/11 was because they wanted to throw a missile at the Pentagon for all
Mhm.
the forensic CPAs and accountants trying to find out where $4 trillion disappeared in the
That's
military.
that's
And
right.
when you look at the numbers, just follow the money.
Yes.
And it's not rocket science, but they want to teach us quadratic formulas. They want to teach us transgenders. They want to teach 8-year-olds about sex and chopping their wieners off. Like
Mhm.
that's what our culture is. It's disgusting. And they added a whole nother division of gender. That didn't exist when I went to school. It
Not
was
at all.
race, it
Yep.
was height, it was eye color, it was religion, it was sports teams. Oh, I'm a Yankee fan. You're a Red Sox fan.
Right.
You're a loser. And it's all about division, division, division. They just create a whole nother one, and I'm sure they're going to create 5 more with AI over the next 60 months. So
Yes.
when you understand that you need to read the Bible, you need to get close to Jesus.
Amen.
How there is not a Bible one-on-one, but yet they said the state and church is separated. But during COVID, they shut down churches, the
Right.
first time in the existence of our human race.
Mhm.
So if you understand that a lot of things are deals, they teach the priest, if they want your guns, your priests are going to be saying guns are bad. If they want you to have more guns, the priests are going to be saying guns are good. So you have to understand that it comes down to you, and that is the responsibility of every single human that's given a gift from God. Your presence, your present is where you are today, and most people are too scared and fear mongered and anxiety, and they're pumped full of medications and pills, and they're watching TikTok clips about how they're oppressed. If they're black, they get nothing but white people are racist. If they're a woman, they get nothing but white men are masculine. If you're a man, you get nothing but girls are entitled and unaccountable. Like that's all we get in our culture is just algorithm after algorithm about division, hatred, anger. You're nothing. They don't want to build anybody up. God forbid you create a car that runs on water. Oh, I died of
Yep.
3 shots in the back of my
Yep.
head, suicide.
Yep.
So you have to understand that you have to take care of you. You have to build, ready for this word, community, something we
Amen.
do not have as a nation,
That's so
and
good.
something our churches were supposed to do, but they failed miserably.
Mhm.
And so we have to take it upon ourselves to come together, help each other, build strong relationships and organizations with like-minded people, not to have echo chambers. We'll see how that worked with the transgender movement. But you need to have people that you can come to and learn from. And that's where
Absolutely.
these podcasts are so important, something you've been doing for a while now, Matt. It's just important to have this information out there to bring somebody who, I'm not reading a teleprompter. You're not reading a teleprompter. What you're hearing is from my heart. What
Right.
you're hearing from Matt is from your heart. And when you get that message, that's how it used to be 70 years ago with
Yep.
radio. People would speak from their heart and say, "This is wrong. This is bad. This is great."
Mhm.
And it's just everything is messed up right now, as it has been for over 100 years. So what do? You focus on you. You focus on your spirituality, mentality, physicality, emotional health, and all those are multipliers to your financial health.
Yes. That's well said. You're so right. That lack of community, I don't think, because we're always speaking about, if you're on the fence with the Lord, if you're saying, yeah, I've heard that it's not for me, I can assure you there's nothing more scary than proceeding in this completely broken world without Jesus Christ. I don't know how people think they can parent without him, run your household without him, make friends without him. And this isn't to be chauvinist or whatever. I seek out people that are walking with the Lord. And it doesn't mean that we're ignoring the lost, but that's become such an attractive quality to me that here's a man walking through trials. And what is he doing? He's leaning on the Lord. The book of James tells us, consider your troubles all joy. You're supposed to be, thank you, Lord, because in that moment, he is refining you. He is manicuring you. He is maturing you. So you look at those troubles as an opportunity to grow in. It's the only way forward. Because we kicked God out of the culture, because we said, you're not welcome here, God, we've seen it go hand in hand with an erosion of the American culture. I mean, this is not a country which you would say that's the gold standard for how you treat your children. This is the gold standard for how you. None of that. They've made us too busy, too chaotic, too full of fear. And I think the moment we're at right now, this is what's such a beautiful thing. In November of 2024, we elected Donald Trump. And what did Donald Trump say? He's going to get right to work making America great again, America first. And we can see that almost instantaneously, the work the United States needed done, USAID fraud, if you remember, we had billions of dollars being stolen. There's no activity. We had the Epstein files sitting on Pam Bondi's desk in February. They're ready for release. She does the fake binders. She then goes through, we go into July last year, and they gave us two great lies last July. Of course, Trump says we annihilated the Iranian nuclear program. We took the big bombers, they went down way underground, blew it out. You cannot do a nuclear program. He said peace would break out. That was a lie. Todd Blanche signed the Department of Justice document that says, and this is clearly a lie, clearly perjury, that Jeffrey Epstein worked alone. There is no co-conspirators, and it was just he and Ghislaine. He signed that document. And now we are to where we're in a middle of a war that has no end. Remember, Iraq and Afghanistan was a 20-year, $2 trillion project. And we wonder why we have inflation like this. Every time a war breaks out, the cost of living for you and I goes up. It's a natural thing. We print money, devalue dollar, we spread that money all over the world. And what happens to us? We just pay more to go to the grocery store, go to the gas station, turn on the heat, all of that stuff. I talk to baby boomers about this because I'm convinced it's one generation, 62 to 80-year-olds right now in America that voted for Donald Trump that will still say he would never do that. He's doing exactly what we said. They can't see it. I wonder, what is the message? And I think it's data. I think it's facts. You know, our baby boomers, they always tell us about they're on a fixed income. I hear that all the time in my business. Well, we're on a fixed income. Okay. Well, so am I. So is my neighbor. It's not like people are getting raises every other month. And so we're all on a fixed income. I'm convinced that this cost of living, turbo inflation, is going to be the final straw for these baby boomers to say, we got to get out of this. We don't want any part of this. We can't afford this. Because at the end of the day, this is an indictment on America. What do we care about the most in America? Our money, our stuff. We do, even more than our children in many cases. And how do we know that? Because mothers got their children vaccinated so they could go back to school, so they could go back to work. They put a mask on them so that they could stay in school and it wouldn't inconvenience their life. So we know money trumps all. How much longer do you give it, these boomers, these people that are saying that this is a good, yes, protect the Epstein class. Yes, kill the brown children in the Middle East. Yes, yes to American dominance. What's going to be the thing that snaps them back into reality? Because when that group comes to, Donald Trump is in a world of hurt. That's the rest of his fans now. He's already lost half of them. What do you think there? How do we push him over the edge to say, this is going way off track, folks?
I believe there's something that Israel has on Trump, or something
Yes.
that, maybe his father had an agreement with before he was, even born. There's a lot that we don't see, right? We only see the tip of the iceberg, but underneath the
Yes.
iceberg, there's literally 99% that you just can't see.
Right.
And there's a lot of backdoor deals, there's a lot of cabal, there's a lot of dark government, there's a lot of power structure, there's a lot of sectors that are run by people. So if you understand how the world works, what you have to try and do is just make educated decisions, for your finances. And it really boils down to, which a lot of people have a hard time really understanding, is it boils down to, do you love you? Are you okay with you? Do you have the ability of Christ and God in you? Are you important today? And all those, which doesn't really make sense on paper, have a lot to do with money. Yeah, okay, Joe. But it does, because there's so many examples. Look at people that win the lottery. Look at people that get $100 million contracts as an NFL
All of our
player.
NBA players, they're 21 years old with 100 million coming in, and it's gone like that.
Yep. And why is that? And it comes down to lack of education. It comes down to thinking that they're God. It comes down to not appreciating the gift God gave them, the talent God gave them. That was a transaction for those dollars. But what they do is they worship the dollar, as you were
Yes.
saying. And the moment I stopped worshiping the dollar, because I did it for most of my career, raising 3 children and a non-working spouse, as soon as I put Jesus there, my income almost 10x'd within
Yeah.
12 months.
Right.
And it's one of those things where it comes down to, I love myself. I lost 40 pounds. I started working out. I'm at the gym 4
Good.
times a week. I'm eating clean. I'm
Amen.
preaching, the gospel. I'm in Bible study. I have a therapist. I
Nice.
went through my mommy issues that I realized I
Yeah.
was carrying. I got rid of all this demonic negative energy that I was carrying
Awesome.
and shed those. And now my light shines brighter and brighter and brighter as you remove that negative self. We all have
Yeah.
baggage. You have to go
Right.
through it. Nobody wants to. You don't want to live in the past because you live in depression. You don't want to live in the future because you live in anxiety. But presently, in your present, you have to reflect and say, what did I do wrong? What can I do better? Which that's called accountability, which we
Yeah.
don't have as a country. We don't have as a
Correct.
culture. Not to be sexist, but women definitely do not have that trait. And a lot of my business owner men have it, but most men in general don't because they
Right.
demasculate them with
Right.
poison and food and whatnot. So it comes down to, I had all my tests done, and my estrogen was 51. It's supposed to be between 10 and 40. My testosterone was like 390. It's supposed to be like
Yep.
800. So
Right.
I get shots every week.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where, and again, that made me feel good. That made me realize that my wife was leading my marriage, and I'm like, hold on, what? No, that's not what the Bible says. And so it caused a lot of changes that maybe people don't want to do because they're just used to the everyday. But the everyday is the programming to enslave you with your slave number, known as your social security number. And they're going to keep raping and taking and
Yes.
pillaging until you can step up and make changes. So it's yes, are people on fixed
Yes.
incomes? Yes. Do people buy things they don't need because they're trying to fill a hole in their heart, which
Yes.
Jesus should be there? Absolutely. And it's one of those things where they took God out of the education, took God out of our culture, they took God out of our music videos, and now all the music videos are devil heads and worshiping and women and
Mhm.
and money and it's. But that's what I grew up in the '90s. Look at Pac
Yep.
versus Big.
Yep.
Like it's embedded in our culture, and it's teaching young men that money and women are the most important things, not family, not
Yeah.
children, not
Yeah.
legacy, not doing the right thing, not accountability, not ethics, not morals. When those are the things that enlift people to actual have two things that we're lacking in this country, which is peace and respect.
Yes.
And those are two things that once you crave them and realize you deserve them, you could see how many people in your life are unpeaceful in your business. I got rid of 80% of my agents recently, did a purge. But it's one of those things where you just have to look in yourself and you have to understand, let me surround myself with winners. Let me surround my
Yep.
community with people that are better than me. That's why I have my spiritual guy, 67, knows the Bible in and out, can quote everything. I can't. So I spend an hour with him learning every week. And
Yes.
I'm at the gym. I don't know what the hell I'm doing at the gym. I mean, I just sit in my chair for 10 hours a day
Right.
and help people across the country with their finances and their estate planning. And
Yes.
so I go there and I have a personal trainer, right? Because they know about weights and how not to
Yep.
overdo. And, so it's about asking and finding people that are where you want to be and having a simple conversation of what did you do and how did you do it without trying to reinvent the wheel.
That's beautifully said. What I love in there is that at the end of the day, this is an inside job. Each man is going to be responsible for the quality of his family because he has been tasked with leading that family in a godly way. From that submission and obedience, the blessing comes. Pride falls off. Hey, listen, I'm out of shape. I need help. I'm not going to stay closeted and get sicker and sicker. I'm going to say, listen, I don't know what I'm doing. I need it. I love that. Because if we got that element of humility back in the culture, we ain't nothing. None of us are anything. And none of you are getting to heaven because you've done some great thing. It is a gift through grace, by faith in Jesus Christ is how you get there. And then that is going to turn into love for your fellow man, your neighbor, the people at your Bible study, recruiting more people to say, you don't know what you're missing, man. This thing can change your life. I was but God and now. That's our story. That's a wonderful testimony. Do you want a story like that? And that's what we're trying to do. I mean, the Great Commission, Matthew 28:19, Jesus tells us now, go to the ends of the nation, baptizing in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, because that is a gift that you can't just hold on to. If you've gotten that freedom from the Lord, You're called to give that gift away. And guess what? When you're surrounding yourselves with brothers and sisters that are of the Lord, just watch that peace break out, that joy break out. Those are the fruits of the Spirit. God wants us living in that. What He doesn't want us to ever live in: fear, anxiety, I'm worthless, I'm nothing, I'm undeserving. He rejects all that. That's from Satan. We have to have a Christian country or it's over. Now, one of the things that we pray for all the time on this show is that Donald Trump becomes a Christian in the White House. I mean, I'm having this like sort of fantasy dream. Could you imagine what would happen to the world if he had a Paul-like, Saul-like experience on the road to Damascus, and he has an encounter, and he goes from one monster to the greatest evangelist in all time, and it happens overnight? That is our only way out when it comes to this election season. You know, our policy is simple. You must be a declared Christian man that we can see some fruit from, or we just can't vote. The secular man, he's getting destroyed at this level. It's too much. If you don't go to the White House, if you don't go to government armed with the Holy Spirit, the armor of God, this is what happens. They're going to start talking to you in which something that had no relevance to the campaign, the Make America Great movement again. I don't know about you, Joe. I've never lost a night of sleep in bed thinking, I just don't want Iran to have a nuclear weapon. I don't know what we're going to do. You know what does scare the snot out of me, though? That my kids will never be able to buy a house, that they're not going to be able to have a family, that this culture that we're used to is turning into a high-rise rental. You take a light rail or a subway, you order Uber Eats, you're watching Netflix, you're getting out of shape, you're getting unhealthy, you're taking government medicines. You do that for 40 years. And then, you know, you'll have nothing and you'll love it. And that's their messaging, right? And we're going to break that now. And so we're coming after them with not a, it's so spiritual, the facts aren't even making sense, meaning this is such a inside spiritual job. The scales that are on the people's eyes right now. And again, this is still, if Donald Trump had 100 million fans. And don't forget, he built the greatest political fan base of all time. There's never been a movement in politics like MAGA, like Trump, Make America Great Again, all these things. That movement is now probably half the size as it used to be as a result of the Epstein files, as a result of the wars of choice, as a result of the suffocating inflation in which we see no end. We're just basically waiting on those last group to hold on, that are holding on to say, okay, forget this, I'm out of it. Our guest is Joe Lombardi, Ironhawk Financial. Now, I do want to get into this because as we started the show, I see markets at record highs. As I see, there's no way those are connected. It's just not possible for the stock market to be reflecting the everyday economy and say, okay, I guess we're doing pretty good. We're not doing very good. We have record credit card debt. We have record low savings, if there's any savings at all going on. You've got mom and dad both working full time, stressed to the max. Kind of give us your perspective on how a person can take that fear, that liability, that major concern, because it is one thing we know about this, the billionaire guys that are running this market up right now, they'll be out long before any damage has been done. And mom and pop will be sitting here kind of like we saw in COVID, or maybe like we saw in 08, where it's like, I mean, I remember having customers that would tell me that during the 08 crisis, they were 65, ready to retire. They lost half of their value and they went back to work for 5 more years. The dividends that they were getting on these stock options, they were gone. Tell us some insights, some solutions, some alternatives. I don't want to be exposed to this billionaire's game.
So it comes down to saving. Every dollar that comes into your household, 10 to 20% gets saved. And you don't want to go with the government. Do not do IRAs, 401ks. One of the 3 5-star rated books I've written on Amazon is called There's a Better Way Than a 401k. And it's just doing what the multimillionaires and billionaires do. So what they do is something called leverage, right? And I have clients doing this at $500 a month. I have clients doing this at $15 million a year. But it's one of those things where you have to leverage, right? So you don't tie your money up to your 59 and a half if you're young, right? If you already made that mistake, you made the deal with the devil, also known as the government, and all your money's qualified, all your money's taxable, you need a strategy to take those dollars, I call them dirty dollars, and clean them into clean, pure cash that's growing, right? So then you're like, oh, isn't that a Roth IRA? It's like, no, you're not going to do that with $7,000 a year. So what there's a strategy called the rich person's Roth, also known as a 7702 plan. When you look at a 401k, what is a 401k? What is a 403b? What is a 457? What is a college savings 529? Those are government sponsored IRS code plans. Those are codes. That's all they are. 401k is an IRS code. Okay. And the wealthy people realized, well, those codes benefit Wall Street because they're colluded. And I worked in Wall Street, by the way. I had my securities license for 17 years. And what it does is 1.5% of your money every year over 30 years is over 50% of your contribution is stolen from Wall Street. Now I can prove it to you. Let's say you're just putting away $15,000 a year and you do it for 30 years. By the time you get to year 30, go to ChatGPT or use a mortgage calculator, you have about $3 million. What's 1.5% of 3 million? That's $45,000. Well, wasn't that my year 1, year 2, and year 3 contribution they steal from me year 30? Yes. Well, what about year 29? Oh, well, I have about 2.8 million. Well, what's 1.5 of that? Well, that's about 42,000. Wasn't that my fourth year, my fifth year, and most of my sixth year? In 2 years, they wipe 6 years of your total contributions. So Wall Street doesn't charge you on the money you put in with 12B1 fee, Class A share fund fee, money manager fee, annual account fee, mutual fund expense fee, flat assets under management fee. What they do is they charge you on your whole account. But I already paid for that last year. No, we're paying for it again. But I already paid for that 12 years ago. No, we're paying for that again. I already paid for that 26 years ago. No, you're still paying for it again. And people don't understand this, okay? The educational system intentionally makes you dumb as rocks when it comes to money. I earn it and I give it to government, and government is going to help me. It's like, no, it's not. They're going to screw you. Because not only did you lose over half your money on the way up, but when you take money out, you have federal and state taxes that are taking half your money. I get less than quarter? Yes, you get less than 25% of what you put in. It's robbery, it's stealing. And on top of that, they're leaning your Social Security, they're leaning your Medicare. They've already spent that money. They already stole that money. They're going to say 2034 Medicare is dropping like 30% just because it's bankrupt. So when you understand all of this stuff, you don't trust the government if you're, watching third-party podcasts, because Fox and CNN, you pretty much realize, yeah, they're just lying to me. Because I turn on one channel, they say that 2 + 2 is 6, and I go to the other channel, says 2 + 2 is 3, but I know 2 + 2 is 4. That's why we have ulterior media.
Yes.
So when you understand that, you understand the government is not your friend. You understand they created something called the Dodd-Frank Act, where they can wipe your bank account if there's a war. Then you take a look at, why do they want World War III? Come on, guys, look at the tax. Go to 100-year federal tax bracket picture. Do it on your phone, on your computer, and you will bring up a very simple chart that shows you the highest marginal rates in the form of a line. And do you know, from World War I, our marginal tax rate was 7.5%. Then it jumped to 77.5% within 48 months. Did you know that World War II, our tax rate was 25%, and it jumped to over 92%? Straight lines. Yeah. Why do you think they want World War III? Because we owe $40 trillion. Go to usdebtclock.org. How are we going to pay $40 trillion? Do you have an extra $386,000 in cash lying around? So no, I don't.
No.
That's what every single working American owes the Federal Reserve. $386,000 after tax. Who has that? Nobody. So how are they going to pay it back? Increased taxation. So why am I deferring, which is what your accountant will say is tax savings? The last time I looked, the word savings and deferral are not synonymous.
Right.
I watch NFL games where there's a coin flip before the game starts and they defer kickoff to the second half. What did they save? Well, they still got to kick it off. Yeah, Joe, but you don't understand is when I hit retirement, my tax bracket's going to be way lower. So your plan is to live in poverty when you retire? So you're in a super low tax bracket and you think you can keep up with inflation? And that's the lie that the culture, your accountant, your educational system told you? To invest with the government, have all your money stolen by Wall Street and federal and state taxes, pay penalties for your 59.5, handcuff your money for decades. You can't buy low and sell high. When the market crashes, you can't get in. Well, my clients do, because 7702 plans are what? guaranteed not to lose. What? Averaging 14.81 or 82% over the last 15, 20 years documented. Tax-free. That's 400% higher returns than the S&P 500.
Yeah.
What's the S&P 500 average since 2000? 6.8.
Yeah.
So if you understand numbers, because again, men lie, women lie, numbers don't lie. You understand numbers. The wealthy said, we're going to create our own 401k that can't lose, that's high returns, that's sue-proof, that's divorce-proof in most states, that I can lean and leverage the money like a home equity line of credit. Why don't you take out a home equity line of credit? You still get the appreciation of your house. What happens when you sell your Apple stock? Gone forever. See ya. Well, all the future gains, you get none of it. Well, if I still own the house from 60 years ago, don't I get all the appreciation if I spend it all 50 years ago? Yeah, that's called non-direct recognition. Do you know about that? Does anyone know about that? No. And why wouldn't they teach that in school? I mean, if that's going to save me millions of dollars, I'm not talking about saving you $43 on your auto insurance. This isn't Geico for 15% call for 15 minutes. This is saving millions of dollars with an S.
This is generational change in money, because that money can go to children, your lineage,
grandchildren. Yeah. They're going to know your name because you set up money for their wedding or their house or their education. So it's one of those things where people don't do that. And then what happens? This is what the average American's life is. And most of your listeners between those ages you refer to, 62 and 80, they are going to experience this if they don't have a plan. Mm-hmm. I worked my butt off for 40 or 50 years. I trust the government. The government doesn't deliver like usual. So the government, they're demonic. And then I have this thing called a hidden tax, inflation. My money's level. It's COLA. Yeah. They take out like electricity and gas, which is but that's a whole nother conversation. Right. So your COLA adjustment is like 10% of what the real inflation is. So you're losing like all of your purchasing power of your dollars, right? Yes. And then you get older and you say, oh, let me put my money in CDs and bonds and the bank, where you're just losing guaranteed 7% on your money because of inflation. Yes. Well, Joe, I can't have my money 100% in the market, which, oh my God, I see that from 75 and 80-year-olds, 100% tech stocks with like $6 million and they're 80. Jeez. And I'm like, what are you doing? Like right. you have no, like literally you're not diversifying your taxation. All your money's taxable. My home, my business, my car, my 401k, my IRA, my brokerage account, my crypto account, my gold and silver account, taxable. So you're not diversifying that. Again, we have 40 trillion, taxes are going up. Diversify. And then they're not diversifying their market exposure, their house, their stocks, their crypto. Right. They're all correlated. They move in the same direction. So when you look at when the market goes down, your house goes down, your stock portfolio goes down, your home value goes down, your business suffers unless you have a defensive business. So it's one of those things where everything is correlated, but yet you're not diversifying your taxes, you're not diversifying your fees, you're not diversifying your liquidity, you're not diversifying against interest rates going up, which they are, you're not diversified against inflation going up, which it is. And so what happens is these people say, I have $1 million. $1 million today? What's it worth? Like $100,000 32 years ago? It's right. Nothing to what it was. So it's so vitally important to find somebody who knows how this works, who has 4,000 clients, who has zero complaints in 23 years. Find me another business that has zero. Look me up at the Better Business Bureau. Look me up on Google. So because my clients can't lose. I've never lost a client $1 in 23 years. Well, this got to be expensive. I never charged a client $1 in 23 years. It's free, FREE. And these people are like, oh, it sounds too good to be true. Why? Because you live in a demonic world. Don't you think the ultra rich have built this? Doesn't God sound too good to be true? Right. So it's one of those things where there is good in this world with all the negativity, with all the fear, with all the anxiety. I'm too fat. I'm too short. I'm this color. I'm this race. My neighbors have a car better than me. I'm jealous of watching people online take pictures in front of cars they don't own and claim it's theirs. And I want that. So it's like you have to get right with yourself. That's why I originally said, well, what's the best thing you can do? Get out of debt. Debt is cancer. You are enslaving your future self when you do a 401k and an IRA. You're enslaving your future self when you put money on credit cards. You're enslaving your future self when you get mortgages and student loans and car loans. Because what you're saying is, oh, tomorrow I'm going to go through a lot of pain so I can have some pleasure today.
Yeah.
So it's a balance of saying, I understand time goes by fast. It's all about habit.
Yeah.
I have clients that make $75,000 a year combined, and their net worth is $4.5 million because they're savers and they care. Then I have people making $750,000 a year, and their net worth is negative $150,000.
Yes. Yep.
So it comes down to you. And it's that simple, which again doesn't have a connection to most people because they're like, no, money has nothing to do with me. I have to trade my time for money. And if I only made more money, well, if you have poor morals and ethics and non-self-love and self-loathing, if you made more money, you would spend more money.
100%.
So you're never going to build wealth. You're never going to help your future self until you can look in the mirror, fix your childhood trauma, get to a point where you love yourself. If that means lose weight, get to the gym, get rid of some crappy friends in your circle, replace them with good friends in your circle, kick out your spouse if they're toxic. You can't do that with your kids. You just got to pray to God on that one. But it's one of those things where if you could do those things, you live more in peace, you feel more empowered. Jesus is your little, parrot on your shoulders. I always talk to him if I need anything.
Yes.
And it elevates you spiritually, mentally, emotionally, your frequency, your energy, everything is moved up. And then you're living at a higher level, a higher frequency, a higher chakra. And what does that do? I have a brighter light. So I get to go on cool ass shows like Matt, after dark show. I get to do cool stuff. I have cool friends, people that are doing stuff that say, yeah, I want you here because you sound interesting. You sound like you're valuable. Be valuable in the market, be valuable to your family, be valuable to your friends. Stop looking to take, and give nothing. It's not rocket science. Money is not right. It's the most talked about subject in the Bible. Money.
Right.
Not following Jesus, not the 10 commandments, not treat, thyself as thy neighbor, which are very important parts of the Bible. Money is what it's talked about the most. Yeah. So it's kind of important. It's kind of really important that you get your money right, because money doesn't buy happiness, but it buys peace and it buys respect. And those two things, especially as a man, are the only two things I'm after right now at 41 years old, not to be 42. I don't care. I have a nice car. I have $1 million house. I make millions of dollars. It's freaking awesome. Blah, blah, blah. I'd give it all up if I had a good woman, peace, respect, a good circle of friends, laughter, because you can't take the money with you.
That's right.
So it's not about accumulating as much as I can, because I meet those people too that are just so fear oriented. They make $400,000 a year and they live on 40.
Right.
And they're worth like $30 million. And I'm like, you're like 50. What do you can't spend all this money. You've just missed out on vacations with your children. You missed out on a better quality of life and enjoying and reaping the benefits of your hard work. And you're spending time away from your spouse and your children and your friends and your hobbies to trade your time for dollars, but you're not enjoying those dollars, right?
Yes.
So is it one way or the other? No, it's having a balance. That's why it's a percentage, 10 to 20%. If you make 400, go below 320. If you make 40, go below 32, right? If you make $1 million, go below 800. But make sure you have that 10 or 20% that's going into index universal life insurance, 7702 plans, liquidity, buy low, sell high. That's how people get an extra 1,000% rate of return over 30 years. You're not going to sell your house at minus 40% to buy Apple at minus 40%. Makes no sense. But if you have money sitting there that's earning for you, when the market crashes, you lose nothing as a stop loss called option contracts and derivatives. And you have a stop loss they can't lose, guaranteed contractually. These trades have been around hundreds of years, surviving the Civil War, World War I, the Great Depression, World War II, flawlessly never needing a dollar from any big government. If you could do that when everything crashes, now you have powder. Yeah. Well, Joe, I'm not 59 and a half. There is no 59 and a half year rule. It's cash.
Right.
I can lien my home at any age. I can lien my life insurance at any age. I'm guaranteed to die. Yeah. So what the hell does the insurance company care if they leverage and lien you the money before you die? They got to pay it anyway. You bought a permanent policy. You weren't brainwashed. Said, Joe, I have life insurance. I have term. No, you're renting and it only pays if you die. Therefore, you have death insurance.
Yes.
My clients have life insurance. If they get sick, 1.5 million in cash while they're still alive up to. If they need long-term care, 30,000 a month. So they're not selling high cost assets with realtor costs and capital gains and ordinary income taxes where it's costing them 200% for the long-term care. And then they're leaving their family nothing. Right. So it's having these plans. You pay for pennies on the dollar. Now it's growing and you lean and leverage your money because you overfund it with the right carrier, right structure, right sub account, right investment option with the participation rate, with uncapped and very important. And these are the things you want: non-direct recognition. You don't want whole life. You want index universal life built and structured properly. And yes, it's a whole life for 20 years. Before I realized, oh, wow, with interest rates, inflation high, it's literally a worthless asset class. So these are the things that clients need to understand. Well, Joe, it's too complicated. I don't know what I don't know what this is. I don't know. Learn, read. Stop watching your Shohei Ohtani, his batting average. That's cool, but what is that going to do for your life? What's that going to do for your kids? What's it going to do for your spouse? What's going to keep you out of a 10 by 10 jail cell known as a nursing home, where they're going to throw you in there to die while they extract all your cash because you're too ignorant to understand what's going on. Your family doesn't want to see you because it's scary in there and it smells. So it's one of those things where you have to be real. You come into this world in diapers, you go out of this world in diapers. You have to face your mortality. You have to face your morbidity. You have to start planning for your future self. You have to stop enriching your present self because you don't love who you are and you're trying to replace it with worldly materials, which is just going to cripple yourself when you're 40, 50, 60, 70 years old. These are the things and the principles they don't teach you. The church should be teaching you this. The school system should be teaching you this, and they don't, because they want you dumb, consuming maggots. That's what they want. Just keep eating. Keep consuming, keep the war machine going. Let's keep murdering people overseas that don't even know us. Let's keep aborting children and murdering that. The devil loves that. So it's so deep. And that's what people understand. If it's not deep, why is money talked about number one in the Bible? If it's not deep. Not that bad. I'm just gonna go work for a piece of paper, which is a corporation, by the way, and I'm gonna give my life to a piece of paper, which doesn't know you, doesn't care about you, and you're employee number 3,871, and I'm gonna do that to enrich who? The person who owns the company, not you.
Yeah.
Well, Joe, I'm too scared to own my own company. If you go work for somebody else, you are owning Joe Incorporated. You're waking up, you're getting on time, you're respecting the clients that come into the business, you're respecting your peers, because if you don't, they fire you. Yeah. So you can run your own business, and that's the self-faith, the self-love, the ability to say, I'm good enough, not listening to the bullies, not listening to your drunk dad or your pill-headed mom. And it's having that relationship with Jesus, no matter where you start from. We all start differently. Some, have different colors, different sizes. Some have skill sets and talents. Some don't. Some can sing. Some can jump high. It doesn't matter. You find your talent and you invest your time doing it, and you do your dream. It's a dream of mine to be with like-minded people like Matt, speaking the truth, getting out there and saying, you are good enough. You are strong enough. You can do it. Just because the world, the demons, the devil, the negative energy tells you can't, don't listen to them. Jesus doesn't say that. Jesus doesn't say you can't. You're full of fear. You're a loser. No, he doesn't. So, well, my dad did. Who cares? He was an alcoholic. Oh, my own mom. My own mom wanted to kill me before I was even born. She wanted an abortion. Or my dad wasn't pro-life. I wouldn't be here. That's how my journey started, with a death sentence. And then she left when I was 4 to go do drugs and alcohol, and she died at 52, which screwed me up because I never amended that marriage at 23 years old. I was depression, anxiety, SSRIs, a therapist. I couldn't handle it with new baby, new house, new business, new dog. I was like, and I got put in this pressure. And 2 things come from pressure. Boo-hoo, I'm a victim. Or now I got my fuel source. Now I'm going to grind. Now I'm going to build. Now I'm going to get out there. I identified my talent, and I'm going to keep getting out there and keep replicating it.
That's right.
And that has to do with money? Yes.
Yeah, you just described how important it is, a proper relationship with money. We absolutely need it, but it is not the centerpiece of our life. It just can't be. I remember Paul Allen, who was a Microsoft co-founder, many times over billionaire, dies of colon cancer in his 50s. It didn't matter if he had 150,000 trillion gazillion dollars. He's taken out like that. Did the money matter or did the health matter? Did the peaceful marriage matter, or did you're now a divorced guy with a ton of money? See, it doesn't really matter, but we've made it the centerpiece. Why? We're encouraged by our government to make it the centerpiece of our life. And the status quo is this: go to high school, go to college, get married, start a 401k, get into debt, do it for 30 years under this false promise. Now we're seeing the math doesn't even work out. The expectation is I'm going to bust and bust and bust, and the government's going to be a greater beneficiary of my efforts than that's insulting. And so when I think of this financial conundrum, much like the college status quo, that's what you do. You got to go, but your child's a terrible student, Joe. Why would you send them to college? They have a really good gifting in this or this. So we're just saying, well, that's what everybody else does. Same thing with the 401k. Same thing with the vaccines. We're going to get our child all 72 vaccines because that's what my parents did, or my neighbor did, or the peer pressure at school. Say, no. I have received discernment over these vaccines, and they're wicked, and they're going to hurt my child. I reject them. And if you're not going to tolerate my student at your school with that, then bye-bye. Okay, we're not going to be writing notes or working the system. These institutions that have failed the public over and over and it's happening. We have to suck our very precious money out and put it back into the kingdom. So here we are. We're doing something with Charles Schwab or Janus or JP Morgan. That's demon money. That's going in to oppose the kingdom. What we're trying to do is get off of Netflix. Take your $14 a month, they can't have that money. You're a Christian that loves the Lord. Your money cannot be exposed to anything that feeds the beast, feeds the demon. And it's an incredible effort to when you step back and say, dang, I can't use Amazon then. I don't need an Apple phone then. I'm not doing this then. But that's what it takes. It's denying ourselves that easy, quick pleasure that Satan offers almost every time. I'm feeling anxious. Here's a pastry. I'm feeling anxious. I'll have a drink. I'm feeling anxious. I'll spill money. We're saying you go to the Lord with that anxiety and clarity comes over you. And all of a sudden you say, you know what, honey, I don't think we need that. I think put the credit card away. I think we're going to be good this month. Let's just see how we feel with less. And it's sad to say we have to be like a minimalist, but they're inflating us out of the game. And if, I've heard this one too forever, Wall Street can stay irrational longer than you can stay liquid. And as the American public, we kind of have to look at that just with our own personal finances. We cannot keep up with the Joneses. This is a trick to take us, like a lot of times an animal, if they're hunting, they will just let that thing get exhausted. Chase it far enough, knowing that it's going to get tired, and that's when we're going to kill. And that's what they're doing to us. This money is only going. So if we don't start making those decisions right now for that future self, sucking money out of the system to put it away for a better times, where we can kind of just, it sounds crazy, just get through this age 35 to 65, just get through and still be intact at the other side. Because we just can't keep up with the billionaires' game. They can see through any economic pressure. Elon Musk guys, Bill Gates guys, there is not an environment that hurts them. In fact, they make a ton of money when bad things happen. We sell in fear as the market's going down. They're loading up. Or they're making a killing on the way down. They've shorted the snot out of the market. They've put option plays on that benefit them. I mean, we're not playing with the same tools. So what do we got to do? Okay, I was listening to a demon. I want a Christian man advising me. And I'm really of the opinion, I can't just have a doctor. I need a Christian doctor. I can't just have a financial advisor. I need a Christian financial advisor. I can't just elect a politician. I need a Christian politician, because without that, how can I trust you? Where are you getting this guidance from? You have no discernment. You have no submission. You have no obedience. So you're just doing like a Harvard textbook. You learn this. Satan taught you this, and now you're teaching me this, and I'm in this. No, we can't do it anymore. We must have the courage to break free from the status quo, knowing it's a little scary to be on your own, starting a business, doing an alternative route on the vaccines, saying, I think we're going to go all natural, have a home birth. We're not going to do the hospital thing and all that. There's a boldness it requires, but there's the encouragement that the brothers and sisters that have already made that leap and said, no, we're going homeschool. We're out. We saw the light. We don't believe the story that a guy in a cave in Afghanistan took out 3 buildings in New York City with 2 planes and they all fell demolitions. We don't believe that stuff anymore. Now we're free. So it's encouragement. See, what we can't do is doom and gloom and everything sucks. We know that. Where's the solutions? Where's the encouragement? Where's that? This is, I see a way out of this mess. And so it's so encouraging. I love the approach. And at the end of the day, you want Christian in your business. You want Christian in your circle. It's the only way forward. And I just don't even know the other way to say it. I was an angry, fearful alcoholic, but God said there's a better way. And now haven't had a drink in 14 years. Don't participate in that smut anymore. Am in Bible study, am at church, am serving in the church, tithing. Okay. And guess what? Life got better. There was no fighting with my wife, disagreements, but not yelling and leaving the house. That's a house without the Lord in the center. When the Lord comes into the center of the home, we have a great mediator. We're accountable to the judge. So we're just encouraging men. This is the day. If you are not taking your family to church, men, this Sunday's the day. Just taste it. Meet a Christian man who's cool. I think we're pretty cool guys, Joe. I would go have coffee with us, right? We're not nerds saying, well, we can't talk about the culture because we're just in the Bible. No, we know more about the culture because of the Bible. And we can tell you that the things that are happening right now have been done before. So we're like John the Baptist. Change your ways from the wilderness. We're shouting from the wilderness. You must change your ways. And I want to be a part of the solution. Not just a whiny, anybody can complain, Joe. It's so easy to say this sucks because it does. It's too expensive because it is. This isn't fair because it's not. Okay, so what are we going to do about it? And that's the next phase for this sort of, it just has this like revolutionary type feel to it. Tyrannical government, patriots below it that says, you're not taking the country while I'm alive. Now, you might kill me. You might put me in jail. You're going to do things because you don't like what we're doing. But at the end of the day, we'll never submit to this government official that literally worships a demon. Joe Lombardi, Ironhawk Financial, talking markets, talking, I do want to get back to a serious issue. It's an indictment of the American heart with this game on the Epstein files. I don't know why we're making this so difficult. I don't know why President Trump would risk his entire legacy, his presidency. He has risked his entire life on this issue for a left-wing Jewish Democrat. Somehow that is at the centerpiece of the Republican movement. To be a good Republican today, to be a good conservative today, you need to say, you're stupid for asking about the Epstein files. Why are you keep talking about that? And we won't do it. Am I overreacting that we're watching the greatest cover-up in the history of America happen in lifetime amongst the most heinous of crimes a person can commit? Are you as stunned as I am that there hasn't been more outrage as a collective? Blue-haired tattoo people and NRA, Bible-thumping far right. Are you surprised that that spectrum, we haven't had more people, more insane, demanding the president's action on this? Because what I see is a lot of just, status quo, back to our day. He doesn't want to release him. I think he's probably right. What the hell is going on with us not seeing this is perverted? There's criminals in these files. They're telling us nobody did anything wrong but Jeffrey and Ghislaine, and we don't believe it. Just like we don't believe Building 7. We don't believe the 2020 election. We don't believe the Wuhan wet mark. We don't believe any of that stuff, but we don't ever do anything about it. Do you think this one has enough left in the tank to shake it up and force action? Or is it going to be a delay game, push this down the curb, wait for more chaos and more tragedy to show up, and we just never get to the Epstein files? What do you think about this?
Well, I mean, that's the government's playbook. Distract. I believe Epstein's one of the most vile things that could happen in humanity, besides the murdering of over 1 million unborn children. But it's if they are here torturing them and sexually abusing them, and I mean, think of a more pure thing than a child or a kitten, something that is beautiful and pure and new. Feel spring, flowers blooming. It's the most beautiful thing that the world gives us is fertility and
Yes.
and life
Life.
and it's and to to take what the programming of that beautiful thing and disgustingly and vile it. It's like I don't know what else is worse than that. I mean, if you do something to an adult versus a child, the child to me is 10 times worse because the child can't defend himself. The child can't put himself in that position. Like an adult can put him or herself in a position to be robbed or raped or bullied,
Yes.
but a child can't. So it's like, and how it's not out, how it's not important, and it cuts through the fabric of our culture.
Yeah.
And the distractions and the responsibilities and the, well, I didn't see it, I wasn't there, I didn't do anything mentality that our culture now has. Let me take my iPhone out and take a video right now instead of actually doing something to help somebody. Somebody else will figure it out. That mentality in our culture is now embedded, and you got to give the demons an applause. They did a great job, like destroying God. Like it's again, it's it's disgustingly sad and vile, but they're winning, and we're losing because it's like the movie Ants. If we came together, we outnumber them 1,000,000 to 1.
Yes,
1,000,000 humans. I mean, I don't care. Give me Wolverine versus 1,000,000 zombies. 1,000,000 zombies are gonna win. So, but at the end of the day, one zombie can be easily defeated by Wolverine, as an example. So it's like coming together. We don't. And we've tried. Republicans have tried to band together. They've tried creating things like Rumble that it still hasn't competed with YouTube. But yet we still spend more time on YouTube. We don't request our dollars go to Rumble because it's a more free and centric platform. It's all convenience. It's all laziness. It's all entitlement. It's all unaccountability. And that's the fabric of our culture. And it's narcissism, self-absorbed. And I see it. I mean, I see it in my personal life, which stinks for me. But I see it in the culture too. And it's one of those things where you have to stay true to your principles. You have to scream from a rooftop. You have to do everything you can to grow spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and physically so people follow you. Because who do people follow? The Rock. The same guy that used a laser beam and abducted all those kids in Hawaii. But he's chiseled. He's good looking, right?
He's chosen to be a star.
Yeah, he was. And so it's one of those things where can have false idol gods. If you're worshiping anything other than Jesus, it's blasphemy, and you really need to fix that. And only you can fix you. I can't fix you. Matt can't fix you. And when it comes to the Epstein files, I mean, if I'm a betting man, numerically, it's going to be pushed down, and we'll forget about it in 3 years. And it's sad. And all those children, and horrible things done to them. There's no justice for them, and it's our fault. And so it's our laziness, and we have other things we have to worry about, and it's going to keep happening, and we need to come together, but it's going to be very difficult because that means black got to go with white, and fat got to go with skinny, and cross-eyed have to go with straight eye, and Republicans have to go with Democrats, and Boston fans have to go with New York fans, and gays have to go with straights, and it's going to be insanely hard. I can't say it's masterful the job they did programming us and using our reptilian brain against us, and knowing it in and out, and CIA experiments and everything. And they learned so much by killing and torturing hundreds of innocent people so that they can program us better and control us better. And we are to blame for our actions because we don't step up and do anything about it.
I totally agree. This is like an indictment on the culture, men in particular, that we've been feminized because we've got low T. We've got our hormone imbalance. They've gotten us obese, inflamed on medicines. Okay, so we're now a vulnerable group that can't really fight back. I won't accept that. You're going to have to bring everything to shut this movement down, government. You're on notice. Donald Trump, you will never be safe ever again if you choose to willfully obstruct Epstein violence, Epstein justice. Nobody is going to go for a man because we can see it, right? We can see with our eyes this sender who's been redacted to Jeffrey Epstein talking about a crime against a child. And you want us to believe that there was no co-conspirators. That's not even insulting. That is, they're telling you we'll do what we want. And even if you know what we're doing, you ain't gonna be able to do anything about it. And so to me, that's the moment of saying they're picking the fight with the American people. I heard it said really well once, there is no justifiable reason for a crime against a child. So maybe if in fact you find a guy sleeping with your wife and you kill him, there's reason behind why you did that. You may have to go to jail still, but I can totally understand what entered your mind when you did that thing. I'd do the same thing. Somebody rips you off, a financial crime, steals from you, and you go get revenge. I could see that, how that would do that to you. You're telling me you can give me a justifiable reason why you did a crime against a child? There isn't one. And we're not hanging these people. And our policy is simple. You touch our kids and we'll kill you. That's the cultural message to all of these people. And it has worldwide reverberations. When you understand, holy cow, it's like a 1 week process, tried, convicted, and they cut your head off in front of people. What did he do? He raped a kid. Ah, I see. Serious stuff, right? That has to be the mentality. And right now, the greatest worldly idol in the last 100 years, President Donald Trump, who built the great Make America movement, came down the escalator in 2015. He said two things: going to build a wall and we're going to drain the swamp. You want to drain your swamp? Give us the Epstein files. Your swamp lives in those files. We have to have them. So we're going to never stop doing that, Joe. We're going to stay on him for accountability. Turn your ships around and come home from the Middle East. I never want to be a part of the Middle East again. We don't need bases over there. We don't need foreign aid over there. We don't need commerce over there. Figure it out at home. It's not going to work. Make America great again. It's not going to work. America first. It's not happening. It's America only. America only. It's actually, the show is Christ first, America only. We start with obedience to him, and then we focus on our family, our neighborhood, our workplace, and we build that out. We're the light. We're the light, Joe. We're the ones to say, oh, no, 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 no. The world is burning, and we've never been more grateful, more peaceful, more thankful. Why? Well, through faith in Jesus Christ, we've been given the grace of salvation, and we could do anything. I believe with the Lord Jesus Christ, you could do anything. There is no top on your ceiling. And to give, that's hope. People need hope to sustain stuff, especially when it's hard. Where's my hope? What's my point of getting up tomorrow? Well, it's your value. Do you know right now, everybody listening has a gift so special inside of them, given to them by the Lord Jesus Christ? This is the moment. We got to have that gift right now for the world. Come out of your shell. Give it to us. It was given to you for a reason. This is the moment. This is the moment that we perform for the Lord, take back our country and start over. God first, America only, and you have a chance. Without him, you have none. Joe, I mean, I love the approach here. Tell us all the ways somebody hears this. They want to take a next step. I want to diversify. I hate the government. That's why I'm listening to the show. How do I take my money away from them, get it into a secure place? What's the next steps for everybody?
Yeah, so if anybody wants all three of my books that are all 5-star rated, absolutely free, just send an email to info@ironhawkfinancial.com. I'll send you my webinar podcasts I've done. I'll send you my website. I'll send you two Forbes articles written by a CPA on my strategy called the Rich Person's Roth. This is real. This is not make-believe. This is not a scam. This is not baloney. I have 20 years plus of experience flawlessly with thousands of clients and billions of dollars protection rollovers. Never lost a client a dollar ever. So it's very simple. INFO at iron like the metal, hawk like the bird, financial.com. That'll automatically trigger an email sent back to you with links and PDFs on everything that I'm talking about, where you could find it in the IRS code book, that it's real. You get out of the government. They're not your friends. Wall Street's sucking you dry. People don't really understand how money works or what fees are, exactly, or how interest. And again, that's on purpose.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Protect your family, get a financial foundation filled with life insurance, disability, long-term care, Critical illness, terminal illness, protect you and the people you love, because I'm sure most of, if not all your listeners do not have that. All my clients do. So, and you don't need to be a bazillionaire to do it. You know, it's if you put your phone number in, somebody on my team will call you. They'll do what's called a intake form: assets, income, liability, time horizon, risk tolerance, fears, goals, budget, and then we'll tell you, hey, if we were you, we would do A, B, C, and D. This is why we would do A, B, C, and D. Do you like it? Is it suitable? Great. If it's not, sorry. And most of our clients, you know, they're not the healthiest, so there's other alternatives, there's other strategies. So, you know, I had a case where the one of the spouses was uninsurable, and he really needed long-term care and wanted to leave a legacy of the people he loved. So we used a spouse, we used a second to die policy to put it in an irrevocable life insurance trust to avoid estate taxes. You know, and it saved their family 400% in taxes, meaning if they would have had $100 go through 50% estate taxes and 50% already income taxes and leave them quarter, we're able to leave that whole dollar whole, avoiding both of those taxes legally. And it's could be referred to as the Rockefeller strategy, if that rings a bell. Infinite banking, be your own bank, rich person's Roth. It's getting more vibrant in our culture. I believe 300,000 people last year did this strategy. The rollovers I do, hundreds of millions of dollars a year of people's IRAs and 401ks or strategies that are guaranteed 15% bonus, averaging 14%, can't lose. They work as trusts. They avoid probate. They're free from government stealing your money, like if it's in a bank. It's the safest place to put your money, and over $500 billion with a B dollars goes into this strategy annually. So it's something not new. It's not some experiment. Something's been around a long time. But unfortunately, out of that 500 billion, 90% of it is the ultra wealthy's dollars. And I'm trying to make it more, you can invest in the same ways, same investments, that they're getting double-digit returns with absolutely zero downside risk. Why take the risk? How the rich people look at it, they let the suckers take the risk, and then they bet on the suckers' risk. And if they lose, well, it was a cost of an option contract. The dividend from the insurance company guarantees to pay that. So you, like in writing, you get all your money back. So go to the casino. If you hit a jackpot, they pay you double. If you lose all your money, they give it all back to you. See you tomorrow. That's how my strategy works.
And what I love is, this is the point of the theme of this, folks, is this is taking the small everyday man who's not connected to Wall Street, does not have a friend in the business, but these are the strategies that the uber wealthy, the powerful, are using. Why? That's how they got there. They didn't take risks. They didn't take a 50% bath when XYZ stock got hammered. They were good. You know, when Elon Musk wants $200 million, he's not selling Tesla share. He's borrowing it from the bank with no tax and lets his stock pay that back whenever that note is due. See, we don't get it. We have to take advantage of the little things that are accessible to us as the small everyday. It's our only way out of this. Our incomes are going to be here, but the tools that we can get through Ironhawk Financial makes a little guy, now we got a seat at the big boy table. Market wants to get hammered, all good with us. Market wants to go up, all good with me. I know where I'm going to end up at 65 or 70. I know my grandchildren, even though they maybe can buy a house on their own, I've taken care of that with my asset protection. So this is a must do. We're going to get links and everything all over. I want to push people here. Again, what we're trying to say is that the system's not working. As soon as we suck our money out of the system that is designed to hurt us, medicines, financial, education, all that, take our money back, stick it into the kingdom. Just watch what God wants to do with that blessing. Just watch him do his thing, because we're making the right decision. Joe, God bless you. I love your walk. You're looking great. You're walking with the Lord. You're growing. You're beaming. I can tell it's right there. It's contagious, folks. The Lord has this way of capturing and consuming you. And if you're in a moment of obedience, submission, says, yeah, I want to be led by you, Lord. I know you won't fail me. This is some fruit that you can get out of it. So, Joe, love you, brother. We're going to do this again. Folks, do this until next time. Serve the Lord Jesus Christ. Tell a friend about him. Stay good. God bless everybody.
The Matthew Dark Show, your one-stop show for truth, courage, fellowship, and faith. Available everywhere you get your podcasts.